That sucks. That really sucks.
So alas, I'll be teaching my class from home tomorrow.
Say
And
again.
alas, I will be teaching from here tomorrow. Right from this very couch, most likely.
Yeah, that really sucks.
You still got sick days and stuff.
Oh, we
Well,
got Mike in. We
yeah,
got Flav in.
I do get sick days. That is true.
Yeah,
I
what's
don't
up?
taken one yet though. Uh, no, I was just recounting. I was talking about that discussion with my students about comparing the one that I mentioned in the group chat the other day about comparing Reconstruction, about comparing the Reconstruction era to to today's disenfranchisement of people with felony convictions.
Mhm.
And how it really kind of when I, when they made that link, when they made that connection between like poll taxes and literacy tests of the Reconstruction era, that basically that it kind of hit home to them that they're like, hey, people are kind of pulling the same crap on us now that they were pulling then, and this has been going on for like ages and ages and ages. And I had one student say basically like his end of class statement was, what the hell is the point of what the hell was the point of Reconstruction when they were gonna act like they gave a crap about us, but really they didn't want us to integrate into society.
Right.
Like the student being a black person, being a black, the student being black,
Mhm.
referring to us, he's meaning black people.
Yeah.
Like I'm recounting, and I was just saying how like now I think we're in a similar reckoning where in that like at the time of Reconstruction, a lot of those kinds of things were compromises because so many white people were uncomfortable with ending slavery. And now I think we're in a time where so many white people are uncomfortable with changing the way that they think to get past the implicit bias that they
Right.
have. And it's very frustrating on my end because, you know, all the George Floyd protests, all the Black Lives Matter activism, this is not new. This is stuff that I've known for over 20 years. It's like Captain Obvious to me, and then that makes it in turn makes it very frustrating for me as well. Like, you know what I
So
mean? Anyways,
so I'm sorry. I want to segue. I see I'm not the
God,
only person who cried at the movie My Girl.
why? Who cried
Mhm.
at it?
Can't help you there.
No, I was just watching. I was just looking at something where it was like name a movie that you cried really hard on after watching, and several
Mm.
people said My Girl. And I remember
I
watching it
haven't
as a
watched that in
teenager.
forever.
I remember
Yeah,
watching it
that's
as a
Macaulay
teenager.
Culkin, right?
Yeah, when it first came out, and Anna Chomsky, and I remember like, why am I crying? Like I wasn't trying to cry. I just couldn't
Mhm.
stop it. You know what I mean? Like that's
Mhm.
one of those joints where it's like real. You know what I mean? Like I wasn't. The movie wasn't particularly great, but then when that particular scene came, it was like it's one of the first movies and only movies I remember had. And don't get me wrong, the reason why I don't have like a whole crew of friends or whatever. I have a high potential, a high capacity to care. I do. You know what I mean? Like I invest in people and I genuinely care about my friends. So I have no problem telling you, like I'm not an emo dude, but certainly things that are sentimental affect me. The other day I was watching a film and I was tearful. You know what I mean? Like things like that
Was
absolutely
that
affect me. Not just
was that Attack of the Clones?
no, it It was the Prom.
Oh, right, right.
I mean, I always
Prom.
cry at the end, like, even though I obviously know what's gonna happen well, because it's a biopic, I always cry at the end of the Notorious B.I.G. biopic at when they show it every year.
Oh yeah, that doesn't bother me. The Prom bothered me. The Prom definitely hit me in the feels for a
In what
movie that
way?
was, well, it's a campy film, but it's about a gay girl who goes to a school and they want to cancel the prom. Actually, the leader of the PTA, who's played by Kerry Washington, doesn't want to. They want to cancel the prom because this gay girl wants to go to the prom and take her date, and they don't want
Jesus.
this to go down. So she
It's like it was
fights
based
to
on a real.
actually get the prom. I'm about to spoil this, by the way. So she fights, not the movie, but I am about to spoil it. So she fights to get the prom to happen, and what they do is all of the students and all of the parents and all the teachers, like they're like, okay, if we're gonna get the prom to happen, they secretly have the prom at a different place. So when
Oh
she
wow.
shows up, she's the only person at her prom,
Wait,
and they
I
like
do
no
just
one
want to say
tells her
something.
about it.
I
Yeah,
just want to interject that there is an easy, there is an easy art to like describing a film without spoiling it.
yeah, but I
I
said I
just
was
want to say.
gonna spoil it. I know that, but I said I was gonna spoil it. Like you could have stopped me. I know that. I chose not to go that route because it didn't seem like you guys cared or were gonna watch the film. So I
No,
literally said I'm about to spoil this film, and nobody said, "Hold on, wait a minute."
no,
Like I put out a
that's true.
disclaimer.
It's just you're just putting folks in a position where they have to decide very quickly. I'm just saying for future reference, like it's very
Oh, I know how to do that, but my intention, I had no interest. And when Emily said how so, I had no interest in trying to dance around, you know what I mean, and try to describe, like I just wasn't at there. So that's why I said I'm just gonna spoil it. That's why I was clear, and I said it twice. I'm about to spoil. You could have been, oh well, you know what?
Well,
Don't.
if somebody doesn't want to hear it, they can fast forward.
we'll have to put a
But
big
yeah, so that's just it just kind of
warning.
sucked that she it bothered me because it's like you understand really it's not that it was her and the prom, it's just the impact of discrimination and how people just don't care and how much it affected this girl. You know what I mean? Like this moment in her life that she could never have back was just like, and everybody conspired to be in on it.
Hmm.
It just was like it sucked. Like you could feel the blow. You know what I mean? It was very deflating. Very, very deflating. And she, who I didn't think she was a great actor, she certainly acted the pain involved in that scene pretty well. And it
Yeah, I
didn't
could.
help that there were other great actors who really like sold it. Like you're talking, what's her name? Not Without My Daughter. Come on, you know, what's her name? Death Becomes Her. Not Goldie Hawn, but the other one. You know, powerhouse actress.
Death
She's
becomes
powerhouse.
Meryl
not Meryl
Streep.
Streep.
Meryl Streep. Yeah, you're talking Meryl Streep. You know what I mean? who like Meryl Streep really her being in that scene drove it home. You know what I mean? Like it's just it definitely hit me, and I found myself tearful. Like it was water in my eye, and the water rolled down my face. I'm like, man, where'd that water come from? Is we got a drip in the ceiling? Feel me?
I feel you.
Don't
Mike, I
say
don't need your
that.
lectures. I'm very close to unfriending you anyway.
All right, Emily,
Whatever you say, mate.
you're a little you sound a little bit weird, just so you know.
In what way?
You sound like a little bit underwater.
Okay.
I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah, just a little bit. You just sound a little muffled.
What
I
dragged
mean,
you in, Mike? Did you get my secondhand message that I had Emily send
Deliver.
to you?
yeah, that, and I woke up.
Ah, I was hoping, you jump on when you saw the link. I was hoping. I'm like, I hope Mike comes in. There was something that I wanted to discuss, and now I can't remember.
Oh, I'm
Um,
going to have to hop at 8 for an hour, but then I can come back in if you're still, if
well,
you
I
don't
do too,
want to.
for literally an hour, so that's interesting.
Oh,
And then
And
that'll be dinner time for me.
yeah, then we can come back on, and hopefully Joe will be around. But there is definitely something I just got to remember it that I wanted to bring up,
oh
and I
yeah,
said
what
to
happened to
Emily,
Joe? Oh wait,
I want Mike to come in.
whoops, I never even shared the link. Oh, Joe doesn't always look at the group chats.
I don't think he saw it.
We discovered something about Misha and Emily today,
Oh yeah, I
but we're
saw that
not
in
going
the
to
group
talk about
chat.
Misha on air. We will talk about Emily.
Okay.
Emily used to organize orgies. She was the shot
I
caller.
wouldn't say I was organizing.
She was the shot caller. I'm just kidding, by the way,
I know.
about you being the organizer. So were
Not
these
about the
like
other part.
Matrix type orgies?
No. It
You've
wasn't
seen
that
the Matrix,
exciting.
right? You know what I'm talking about, right?
Yeah, a long time ago. Like when it was actually in the theater.
When they first showed Zion for the first time, and it's like 1,000 people having like a dance party orgy.
No. My life is not that exciting.
That was part 2, right? The
Yeah, it was part
Matrix
two when they
film.
Yeah, that
showed
was part
Zion the
two.
first time. Yeah, when you first see Zion and they're celebrating, and you see how they celebrate.
Yeah, that was part 2. Why did we wait so long
And
for
part
such
three,
a thing?
and it's crazy because there were so many cool ideas in part two and part three that just comprised the whole movie that sucked. Like the albino twins were dope,
Right.
but everything that they were involved in was garbage. You understand what I'm saying? Like it
Yeah,
was just
well,
garbage.
it's kind of, I mean, to me it's what happened is simple, not to say that um I I don't know, not to say that we expected it to happen for sure, but it's like to wait so long and to build so much anticipation, it had to be so great to even fulfill that, which was just garbage. That was just nonsense.
I'll
Like,
tell you the one thing that bothered me, right? Because I like the Merovingian. What I didn't like, because I love Monica Bellucci. So any movie you put Monica Bellucci in, I'm happy if you just go out of your way to get her in a film. What I didn't like is when she was like she would do what they wanted them to do if she could kiss Keanu, which I didn't have a problem with until she kissed him, and they just the long stream of spit that that was
who
like
was
still
that? The main,
attached to both
who
of their
was that?
lips.
Trinity?
No, Monica Bellucci. Trinity was mad because they were going to make a deal with the Merovingian, and the Merovingian was with his wife. The Merovingian was like a program in the Matrix. And he was with his wife, and he couldn't give them access to what they wanted, but his wife could. And she was like, "She do it." She actually, he wasn't going to, but he didn't tell him that he couldn't. And she got up and was like, "I'll give him access, but you're gonna have to pay me." And they were like, "Well, what do you want?" And she goes, "I want to kiss Neil." And Trinity was kind of mad, but Neil was like, "Okay, I'll do it." In order to get access to wherever it was they was trying. Remember, he was trying to get into that other area the
I
computer was turned out to be
not
like a
only
subway tunnel.
not only do I not remember, but I don't like that movie enough that I'm
Oh,
not going to force
well,
myself to.
it was Monica Bellucci who's like ultra beautiful. So she
Oh,
she
okay.
kissed him, and when Monica, I love Monica Bellucci. Like I love her. So anyway, she kissed him, and when they were done kissing and pulled away, it was like it was like high digital, like Lucas Arts film effects. So there's like this long stream of spit, like still connected to both of their lips. And I'm like, oh, that's
Now,
like that was just the worst. Like, yo,
now,
y'all
what do you
couldn't edit
think?
that out.
I
Y'all
mean,
didn't catch that in pre
but
post production.
that's the thing, right? They had to have seen it. So what's
That's
the
what I'm
deal?
getting at. Like they left it there or something. Like in post production, they're like, oh, that makes the kiss real because it was like a
Yeah,
wet kiss. It had to be because it
yeah,
was still connected to like both their lips. Like
yeah. Bad execution. Hey, anyway, I was saying something, and I forgot what I was saying before you interrupted. Does
good,
anyone remember?
good, 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 good.
Does anyone remember what I was saying?
Anyone? Anyone?
Anyone? Bueller,
Bueller.
Bueller, Bueller.
I
Mike's
pulled
not.
it.
I wish I could see Mike's face right.
I
Yeah,
pulled
it's
that on my coworkers
similar
today.
sentiment ish, but somehow we never see it. Somehow, after all of these months and all of these promises of
Emily,
showing your face, we
I know what you
never
wanted to talk about, Mike.
we
A
never see it.
rapper named A Plus.
No, no, we were talking about how shitty
Top 10,
the
top
Matrix
40
was.
in Europe.
So A
We're
Plus was a
talking about
dope
B
rapper. I'm
minus.
sorry you don't remember him. So we were talking about how building anticipation for that long was just a shitty idea,
Oh
and then
yes,
all
yes.
of the things that they could have done to make a good movie that they didn't. Oh, so my point was like they just figured that they were going to wait until the special effects caught up with all the great ideas that they had for this movie, like as if that's what made the first movie so good. Like, yeah, there were cool special effects in the first movie we hadn't seen before, but it was a dope story.
I mean, the bullet motion was probably the best effect that we had in the
Yeah,
first
and so
movie, and the story superseded everything else.
yeah, exactly. And so some moron was like, "Hey, you know what we should do? No matter how many years it takes, we should wait until uh the special effects catches up with the brilliant ideas that we have for the movies." I mean, that's just like, first of all, it's arrogant, and second of all, it did not
Second of
produce.
all, it's arrogant.
I will say the
Yeah,
guy who played. I will say the guy who played Agent Smith got paid though. He was like the highest paid actor in the world during that time period
why?
because he did the three Matrix films and the three Lord of the Rings films back to back to back to back to
Oh,
back to back to back to
oh,
back to
yeah,
back.
yeah, yeah, yeah,
You know what I mean? Like he was
oh
getting
yeah, I'm
bank.
sure he negotiated. I'm sure he, yeah, I'm sure like after the first one, he must have been smart and renegotiated for Matrix
Yeah,
2 and 3. And then
which
after,
landed him Lord of the Rings.
right. And so after Matrix 2 and 3, I'm sure he made sure he went in negotiations strong for like this, yeah, for like the
He's
highest
off living in
possible.
the sunset somewhere.
Yeah. Well, that's interesting because it's like he's not the lead character, but he certainly is a big
Very important.
character. Yeah, big character, and that's a lot of movies. And
Yeah.
and he happens to be like, one of the better actors in the series. So
Yeah.
there's
I
that
mean, I
too.
don't think he acts anymore because he's the type of guy. And the reason why I don't think he acts anymore, maybe he does, but based upon what I know of the Game of Thrones television series, if he was still acting, he would have been in it because they tapped every European or British actor of any significance to
Hmm.
be in that series. You know what I mean? Like they were
Okay.
all in it. You know what I mean? Like he would have been in that joint. You know what I mean? They dug under. They got porn stars. They dug under rocks to find everyone they could find to be in that television series.
Except for
And
all the African British actors,
well, that
but they
would
had
be
to
because
save
I think they
those.
were just being true to the source material
Right.
because they did have black or African British actors in the series. They had at least five,
Hmm.
at least five, at least six. Come to think of it,
Okay. Who are you,
come to think of it.
these weren't major characters, though, right? Who were you thinking of?
Yeah,
Of
of
course they
course, they're
were.
major
Of course
characters.
they weren't.
No, some of them were. Some of the two of them were very prominent characters. Grey Worm and Medici were prominent characters.
Grey Worm and Nadisi.
Mendici.
Mendisi.
Yeah, they were prominent characters, major
Okay.
characters.
Who's
People were
who's
pissed
who are
when
those? Who are those two?
Mendici is the number two to Daenerys Targaryen, who was a major A character. Denisi was her translator and very important, her best friend, and Grey
Oh,
Worm was her top soldier.
oh, Mendici was he was like a eunuch
She was
or
a
whatever.
black girl.
Oh, okay.
Grey
Oh,
Worm
yeah.
was the eunuch.
Oh, okay, okay. Those two.
Her top
Okay,
soldier.
okay. Were they related?
No, they end up becoming lovers.
Oh, yes. Okay.
Well, then they were related.
Yeah, they
Yeah.
had relations.
I see.
They certainly had relations. But yeah, those were two very prominent characters in the second and third act. Very prominent characters.
Yeah.
I'm trying to think because there were some other black characters. There was two in particular, the pirate, and then there was the guy who was the king of Marine, who ended up getting. Well, he got you know him. He's played in he was in he was Conan's ally in the newer Conan film with Jason Momoa. He played Renfield in the Dracula television series. Bigger black guy, bigger, robust British
Oh,
black
yeah,
guy.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Robust.
Yeah, I like that
He's
guy.
robust. He's not muscular. He's just robust. Like, and he's a good, funny actor.
No, he's great. He's
Yeah,
what was he in Game of Thrones?
he was the king of Marine.
Okay, I don't remember him. What season?
Uh, did you watch all the Game of Thrones? I'm not spoiling anything.
No, no, I saw it.
Okay, so remember he tried to betray when she was going to unite all of the towns after she left the
I remember that.
whatever. Remember she became the leader of the tribes of the kind of like the Mongol people. I forget what they're called. She was going to unite all the towns. Marine was one, and they received her, but they were trying to steal her dragons. The wizards wanted to steal her dragons.
Okay.
He was the king of the town. He had a vault. And he was trying to trick her, and they found out that he was trying to trick her to steal their dragons, and she locked him in his own vault to die. Like, it was an impenetrable vault.
That sounds familiar. I guess I don't.
He like courted her and was real nice to her.
Oh, okay.
He was
I gotta remember that.
he was
Yeah, I like that
conspiring
too.
with the wizards.
See,
Remember the
the-
wizards wanted her dragon, and she ended
Yeah.
up burning all the wizards up.
Yeah, yeah, I remember that. I just didn't remember him. I didn't remember him, but I liked him in Dracula and some other stuff he's been
Yeah,
in.
I like the Dracula series because of him.
Yeah. No, that dude's dope. He should get more. He should do more stuff.
Yep. And then there was the pirate who was black.
The pirate.
He didn't have a big role. He would always help out Sir Davos.
I like that name.
Say again.
I said I like that name. That'd be
Sir
a
Davos?
good. That's a good hip hop name, Sir Davos. That sounds like big boy.
Sir
Like
Davos.
that sounds like one of Big Boy's like alter egos. Sir
No,
Davos.
not Dabbles. Davos. Davos.
Oh, okay. Sir Dabbles would be dope. I'm going to take that since
Sir
it's obviously
Dabbles
not taken.
would be
Sir
funny.
Dabbles. Sir Dabbles. Flavius Maximus, aka Sir Dabbles, aka cousin of Lucius Leftfoot.
But you got to keep in mind too, it was hard. They were hard pressed to get European actors at the time. European actors were either starring in The White Princess, Vikings, or Lord of the or Game of Thrones.
Mhm.
So it was like people were stretched thin, and you could see some of them overlapping. Like you'd see people from Game of Thrones show up in Vikings. You know what I mean? It's like,
Yeah.
okay, we know who all the top actors are or in Europe that people tap for these roles. You know what I mean? So there is that. But yeah, that was Game of Thrones. I didn't know you watched Game of Thrones.
Yeah, I'm sure we talked about it.
Doesn't seem like a show that would appreciate your
Dare you?
viewing it, your viewership.
How
How
dare you?
dare I?
I don't think a show has feelings like that.
Oh, I don't
How dare
know.
you,
I've
sir.
been
They
I've
they
been
call
I've,
me they call me Sir Dabbles for a reason, ish. I dibble
So
and
dabbles a
dabble,
lot.
dibble and dabble
Yo,
in the
you
different
definitely
types of
were
show.
you definitely were hyping Rogue One yesterday.
Oh, it was, wasn't I?
Yo,
Probably got a lot of people to rewatch it.
yeah, I felt kind of like, man, I'm glad I recommended it. I didn't know that you must not have really paid attention the first time. Like it
Yeah,
must have been one of them
that's
joints where you were just kind of,
that's an excellent yeah, observation. Um, it may have even been one of those drinks where I fell asleep in the theater.
Oh God.
Happens.
yeah,
Happens.
that movie. I wasn't understating. Rogue One is
No,
it's
it was
really a
great.
gem in the franchise.
Yeah. So when I turned it on, I mean, from the very first minute, it's one of those movies where like every minute is like great. Like it's like they intended it to be great and they executed well. I mean, what's the
Mhm.
dude? What's his name? What's the
Did they make Star Wars great again?
I will never ever use that phrase. Thank you very much. Um, so what's the European dude that plays in Hannibal? His name isn't like Leif Erikson or something, is it? What's that dude's name?
Did he say Leif Erikson? Emily, did he
Yes,
just say
he
Leif
did.
Erikson?
Yes,
He
he
said-
did. Yes, he did.
No, what did I mean to say? Lance? Do I mean
His
to say
name's Paul
Lance?
Revere, bro.
Paul, his name ain't no Paul Revere. Ain't no damn Paul Revere.
Which guy? I don't know. I'm not gonna know. I remember I told you
Um,
Jet Li was in the film,
the
and it
dude
was
that
actually
plays
Donnie. Yeah.
no, I just said it. The dude that plays Hannibal.
Anthony Hopkins.
No, dude. Stop.
Some
Hannibal
dude.
and Silence of the Lambs. Hannibal Lecter.
The TV show. I'm telling
Oh,
you
I
that
don't know
saw.
the TV show. No, I don't.
Oh, that's your bad. Go back. You
It
should watch
probably
it.
is. It probably is.
No, it's a great show. That dude is he's
Those
the
shows
main
aren't my thing.
he's the main well, I don't if good sorry, I didn't know good shows weren't your thing.
Hold on. See, I got to stop you there. It doesn't mean that I don't acknowledge that. Like we had this conversation before. There are several shows that are widely considered great that I don't hate on, or I'm not going to discount and be out there saying, "Oh, the show sucks." It just may not be my thing. So, like Stranger Things, the consensus is this is a great show.
No, you're right.
It's just not my thing.
No, you're right.
You know what
Stranger
I
It's
mean?
Things.
not my thing either.
Yeah, it's not my thing either. But that's because we have good taste.
Well, Breaking Bad, for instance, same thing, not my thing.
Okay. Well, I would say check it out first to see if it is, and then if it's still not, then cool.
Well, I
But I
did
would
check
say
out Breaking
Then
Bad,
stop.
and I just
no.
didn't.
We're
You know what I mean?
talking about Hannibal. Talking
Mhm.
about Hannibal. You did check it out?
No, I didn't.
Oh, okay. Well,
And I
yeah,
don't
just check
I
it
don't
out.
appreciate being yelled at over Hannibal. Like,
You're not being yelled at.
can we lower the octaves here?
You're not being yelled at.
I feel like I'm talking to Emily about 6ix9ine.
No,
It is not
there was
that
no.
bad.
There was no yelling.
I know,
No.
Mike.
There
I'm
was
just
no
Anyways,
playing
yelling.
into.
Lance.
Did you see? Go on. I'm sorry.
There was
That was
no
true.
yelling on like an entire 6ix9ine song. Now that is yelling.
I see what they did here. This is Emily is being forced into this like underwater thing in case she like turns up or something, so that literally you can't yell. You're being muddled right now. Where's your
I'm not
microphone?
allowed.
He said he see what they did here.
You know, I don't even know if it's a microphone problem. It might be a computer problem because one of the kids complained today during class about the same thing.
But where's your mic?
I don't hear it.
Where's your microphone?
In my earphone, which is in my ear.
But where's the actual part that usually your mouth speaks into?
I'm not because I have a
Don't get
different
up.
pair of headphones in.
Oh, different. Well, there we go.
You eating my orange slices.
Different pair of headphones. That's what it is.
That's why you ain't open your mouth.
Oh,
I can smell it.
do you know this actor, Ish? or Emily Mads Mikkelsen.
Of course, he's brilliant.
Yeah,
Mads
that's
Mikkelsen.
yeah,
Mads Mikkelsen. Yes.
yeah. You got to check
That's
him out in.
quite a name.
Got to check him out in Hannibal. But yeah, so first of all, it starts with
Or Polar.
Mads Mikkelsen, or Polar. Yep. Is that the one where he's like a trained like assassin?
Yeah, he's like, don't be afraid.
Yeah.
Like every time he'll be like, calm
So
down.
yeah, I mean, it starts
Don't
off
be
with him,
afraid.
so you're already like, this is brilliant, and then just one after another. Oh, and then the bad guy, he's brilliant too. What's
Mhm.
his name?
Forrest Whitaker's good in it.
Oh yeah, yeah, yeah. It just keeps going like one after another. All these great people just like show up.
And then the scenes are done really well to set up Star Wars, the film.
Yeah, even
Like
the
it really sets
scenery.
the film up really good.
Yeah, even the scenery itself is great. That bad guy, you kind of feel like he's almost like, I don't want to say on a level of the guy from Inglorious Bastards, like not that good as the Nazi, but good.
Oh, the guy from Django Unchained.
Yeah,
Can you hear me now?
it's okay. I don't know that it's keep going.
Can you hear me now?
I've been able to
Yeah,
hear you.
a little bit, and maybe
A
turn up a little
little
bit.
bit.
Notice I didn't have this problem the whole hour we talked, Emily.
Yeah, well, here,
Yeah, the whole hour.
well,
The entire hour.
all the kids did ish. You gotta. I'm doing it for the kids.
Well, not all the
Oh.
kids. It was just one kid.
Now it's just one kid. Let's see. Well, he
He's
had
doing
he
it
had the
for the
problem the whole
kids.
time. Whole time.
He's doing it for the kids.
Okay,
What
can you hear
show do
me
you
now?
have to watch
Yes.
at 8, Michael?
Yes. Oh, it's not a show. I have a Zoom with Erica and Nafisa.
Oh, tell them I said what up.
Okay. Oh, Ben Mendelsohn. You know who that is?
I do.
He plays Orson Krennic.
He sounds like a Baroque composer.
Yeah, he kind of does. But he's a great bad guy in Rogue One. But yeah, you know what's funny about Felicity Jones in this movie? You look at her face, and she kind of reminds me of someone who could be related to Carrie Fisher. She could have been Carrie Fisher's daughter or something. Did you get that at all, Ish?
I didn't.
You did? You did?
I did not.
Oh, you did not.
I do have a
Okay.
question though. What do
Yeah.
we feel about the Equalizer films?
I don't like those.
Because he's not white.
I don't have an opinion. I haven't seen them.
Yeah, that's not my thing. I mean, those movies to me are just stupid. Those movies, I
I refuse to opine on something I don't know about.
those are like I put those in the John Wick category. Like people like the revenge stuff, so they like it. But to me, it's a waste of Denzel's talents. I'm glad.
It's not really revenge.
Whatever it is, I don't even remember. Well, okay, he had another one that was a revenge one that I'm probably confusing it with.
I mean, you do remember the TV series, right?
The Equalizer?
Yeah,
No,
from the 80s.
no. I don't.
Oh, that's probably why. I mean, it was a white guy in the Equalizer, but that's what he did, right? Like, I think it was what's his name? Who's the white bald-headed dude that was really famous in the 80s?
Kojak?
Yeah, but what was his real name?
Oh, I'm just always going to refer to him as Kojak.
All right, I believe it was him. But the Equalizer was about pretty much what Denzel's
Telly
doing, right? Like
Savalas.
Telly Savalas, like he lived in the community, And when
I
people
asked
did
Mr.
dirt to the
Google.
people in the community, he like was the equalizer. He would go and he was just this normal dude who worked at like a convenience store. And when people in the community that he lived in got like robbed or something, he would go handle it. And then what I'm
It
saying,
was okay.
quietly,
It
he
was
would just
okay.
handle it.
There was
So he
something
was
that was
like the
worse.
vigilante justice guy.
Yeah,
There
yeah.
was
He was
something
the
worse.
equalizer.
There was something worse that Denzel did, where there's a little white girl that he's taking care of, and at
Yeah,
first,
Man on Fire.
yeah. So that one I definitely didn't like.
It's interesting because they had two brilliant actors. They had her and him.
Yeah.
And she's was very brilliant as an actor when she was younger. I don't know, she's not doing much now. I mean, the last thing she did was the last movie I know that she did was The Runaways with Kristen Stewart.
Mm.
She's definitely a better actor as a kid than she doesn't do much as an adult.
Mm-hmm.
I forget her name. What's that
But
little
yeah,
girl's name?
why did you ask about Why did you ask about Equalizer?
Oh, because it's on.
Oh, okay.
Oh, it's on TV.
Mm-hmm.
The first one.
The second one.
How many did they make?
2, and they're probably gonna make a third. Because they're good films.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying.
Certainly not like a type of film. Denzel has to do his best acting in.
He channels something different than he normally does for these films.
Mm-hmm.
So you're saying it's atypical, Denzel?
No, it's definitely not typical. He certainly channels something else.
Is it Rage?
No, more of a deep, brooding
Righteous indignation.
air of
Righteous
mystery.
indignation.
I'm sorry. Go ahead.
It's more like this deep, brooding air of mystery.
Okay.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Like which is just not as normal. You know what I mean? It's a different character, right? This isn't a loud, boisterous. This is a quiet, almost obsessive, compulsive type person. You know what I mean? He lives very meager, and it shows in his demeanor. You know what I mean?
So he's like
you
a
can
samurai
tell that
type.
there's
He's
you can
like
tell there's a
samurai.
history to him waiting to be unraveled, that for some reason he's choosing to live private. I mean, you begin to find out some of his history, but
So he's like a samurai.
He's very comfortable interacting with the lowest levels of society.
Okay.
And he's I don't know. I find the character development as it unfolds to be pretty good.
Okay.
In both, across both films.
Oh, including
1 and 2.
Oh, 1 and 2. How did you feel about Man on Fire?
I thought it was a vehicle to just keep Denzel in front of people's faces.
Okay.
I don't think it was necessary. I thought, it was more of a let's get this little girl more shine because she had just done a huge film where she like stole the whole film and
What
people were
film was
falling in
that?
love with her. I can't remember the film. Emily, if I could name the actor offhand, you would know who you would probably know the film. It was a big film and she like stole the film.
Who is
She
this?
stole the film. The little girl from Man on Fire. She plays in Twilight. She's in she's one of the vampires in Twilight, but not like a main vampire. She's part of like the council.
Oh,
The big
and then
bad
she
guys.
also plays in Runaways. So
Yeah,
she got like a Kristen Stewart thing going on?
She was the co-star of Runaways.
Right. So she's got like a Kristen Stewart thing going on.
Well, her, Kristen Stewart,
Hang
and
on,
Anna
I'm
Kendrick
asking
are like
Google.
best friends.
Oh, okay. So yeah, she's
Because
Dakota
they all
Fanning?
Dakota Fanning. And then Elle Fanning is her younger sister.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, Dakota Fanning. Elle is the one who's getting Rose now because Dakota kind of fell back. But Dakota, Anna Kendrick, and Kristen Stewart are all the same age, and they all became very close filming Twilight.
Let's see.
They're
You
like
know,
close, close.
I saw one of the Twilight movies. It might have been the second one, and I surprisingly liked it. I found it to
So
be
the
kind of
last
like,
one was the best movie, one of the best movies I ever watched.
yeah, I can't say which. What was the name of the last one?
Breaking Dawn.
I
It was
wonder
a
if that was
two-part
it.
movie. It was a two-part movie. So Breaking Dawn
Okay.
Part 1 and then Breaking Dawn Part 2. And Part
Well, I
2,
definitely didn't see two of them.
a
That's for
friend of
sure.
mine who I would never, this gangster dude, I would never have imagined would watch Twilight. Another friend of mine, Rodney, I used to clown them, and they're like, "Nah, dude, watch the last film and you'll see what we're talking about." Both of them, and they don't even know each other. And so I
Well, you
watched.
know, people have very strange, unexpected tastes sometimes.
Listen, Emily. I watched that last film, and when I got to the end, I rewinded it back probably an
Are you
hour
saying?
and 15 minutes and had to watch that whole hour and 15 minutes
Are you
again. I was
saying part
blown
two
away.
of? Are you saying part two of Breaking
Breaking
Dawn?
Dawn Part 2. Yeah. But I would watch them both to get the complete story of that. But yes, I was blown away. Like I hadn't been impacted like that by a movie in I can't remember how long, and I'm sure there are movies, but that movie, the way they did it, their approach to what they do, and I'm not gonna spoil that, their approach to what they do is so good that when you get to the end of the movie, you're like, no way. And you rewind the movie back a whole hour and watch it again.
And you've been in love
Like
with
literally
Robert Pattinson ever since?
Robert Pattinson. It was what they did. Like they use a tactic in that film that just kind of hasn't been done, and it
Mhm.
works. Like you don't see it coming until it's too late, and then you're like, whoa, and you have to watch it again. They use a
Whichever one
great
I saw,
tactic.
whichever one I saw, just quite simply put, it just had an interesting, like brooding effect, and I thought it was just cool. I was just surprised that I liked it.
A
It
lot
was
of people,
just,
I will say that about that Twilight franchise, that I was surprised I liked it too.
but it was only one of them, and I think I might have tried to watch a few minutes of another one, and I was like, nah.
The reality is, it's just not a bad franchise. It's one of those films that macho men want to hate.
Mm.
It's
Ooh,
really just
yeah.
not.
What,
You know what I mean? It's
Twilight?
really not.
Yeah.
Yeah, it's not. It's not. It's. There's a reason why those books were bestsellers. You know what I'm saying? Like there's a reason why they were like, the Mockingbird series, like the Mockingjay series. There's a reason why these books are bestsellers. Why so many people like the books, and we're there for the movies. And it, when the movies are done right, you now see, okay, this isn't my thing, but I see why this was such a, it sold so many copies.
Sorry to
Why
interject.
people
Just a warning, it's 8 o'clock.
Well, my
it
thing
is
got
a
pushed back to 8:30, and now Nafisa is saying she broke her phone, so I don't even know if it's going to go down at
Oh,
all.
her phone. I thought you said her bone.
Oh no. So yeah, I don't know
she
if
don't
my
eat meat, but she
8:30.
sure likes the bone.
Yeah, I don't know if my 8:30 is going to show.
You don't know if your appointment's going to show up.
Oh yeah. What did you have going on at 8-ish?
Oh no, I was just gonna watch the show, but I just set it up to DVR.
Oh, okay. All right, so we might
So
be on.
yeah,
Let's continue.
Let's continue.
Yeah.
All right.
I set it up.
Fate
I set it up
has
for DVR.
Fate has allowed us to continue. The gods are with us.
They are. They absolutely are, and
I
that's
might have
dope.
to excuse myself for dinner soon, but
Oh, that is right. You do have dinner. What are you having? Tacos?
no.
Wait, I got it. Mashed potatoes,
Enchiladas.
and something with gravy. Some
No.
kind of meat with gravy and potatoes.
No.
All right, let me try this. Lasagna.
Chicken
No.
and something.
Okay,
Not
what are you having?
lasagna. Chilean sea bass.
Oh, that was my third one was going to
Chilean
be.
sea bass. I was
My
gonna
third
say
one
that.
was going to be something ethnic, probably Latinx.
I was gonna say Chilean sea bass.
Yeah, it's a lie. Oh,
Who's
no.
doing this? Misha's doing this,
Yes.
and this is one of your favorite Misha dishes, isn't it?
Yes.
I could tell by the way you said Chilean sea bass.
Yes. Assertively, Chilean sea bass.
Like, yes, I'm not missing that.
No, I can't miss that.
What does he make with it?
Vegetables and tartar sauce on the side.
Mm, man, that sounds good.
Now, does
Chilean
he
sea
make
bass.
the tartar sauce, or is it
No, it's from the store.
Okay.
How does he prepare the bass?
In the oven. No one thought you fished a sea bass yourself out of the ocean.
Yeah, don't be so.
I mean, that's whenever I eat bass, it's because my brother-in-law fishes it.
Well, yeah, but we didn't exactly, not in the middle of a global pandemic, go to South America to fish for sea bass.
True. My brother-in-law usually fishes for black bass, and then he'll smoke it and bring me and Belinda. He'll however many catches, he'll bring us one. He'll smoke it and put a rub on it, and then we'll just chop that joint up and eat it with man.
Eat it with what?
Crackers.
Oh, it sounded like you said with crack.
Well, we lost a syllable there.
Eat it with crack.
Yeah.
You're like,
Well,
damn,
I was gonna say crackers, but I wanted to,
Okay. So I was gonna say, I thought that kind of curbed your appetite.
Watch yourself. I'm not edible.
Listen, if a whole bunch of white people start using cracker like black people use nigga, and then be like, yo, you can't say that word. They were like, you can't say cracker.
That's actually pretty hilarious.
That's why I'm laughing. Like, you can't say cracker.
Is that an alternative universe kind of thing?
But I said it with the A and not the ER. Like, yo, I didn't use the hard ER. It's like that movie White Man's Burden, which you all are probably too young for.
I'm like a year or two younger than you.
Yeah, too young.
John Travolta
and Harry Belafonte.
Yeah, John Travolta. He's got as many bad movies as he has. Actually, that may not be true. He probably has more bad movies than he has good movies.
Yep, but the thing is, his good movies are really good. But you're right.
But he
does have more bad movies than he does.
White Man's Burden.
I didn't think so because I was very young.
He's got a weird accent in that, doesn't he? He has some kind of
because he's like a wigger, right? Like the white people are like the marginalized people in that world.
Right.
The black people are the majority. You know what I mean?
And you don't mean wigger like the people that shit, I've been forgetting his name recently. Our next president, Joe Biden. You don't mean like wigger like the folks that Joe Biden always talks about.
I mean wigger as in that world the word nigger doesn't exist and it would be wigger.
Okay,
it's the alternate universe.
Not the people that are from a part of China.
So yeah, in White Man's Burden, again, we're talking about role reversal. So like the black people
I know.
Are the majority and they're rich and they're educated, and the white people are, not
marginalized group.
Right.
Yeah.
Like the white
they're
people
the marginalized.
Are like the Midwestern whites. Like the poor white trash.
So what you're saying is they're like the Trump voters?
Did you just call Midwestern whites poor white trash?
Don't look at me. I didn't say it.
What?
Is that what you did? Did you just did you just liken Midwestern whites to poor white trash?
How dare you, Ish?
I'm just saying. That's what I thought. That's what it sounded like.
That's what I heard too.
Wow.
Not gonna
lie.
Like
they're like the Midwestern whites. The poor white trash. Like, yo.
Well, they do exist. We have to see them,
Listen, ladies and gentlemen, we have white friends.
Hey, if
Hi.
you don't see these folks, they will. They do exist. They do vote. They need to be. They need to be counted. Now, a lot of people are actually, their strategy is to see these folks, court these folks, and get their votes. So,
And another strategy is, one of the liberal strategies is that they're requiring all of these Midwestern whites to have ID cards in order to vote, which, in some cases is very difficult for them. It's very difficult for them to obtain these ID cards.
I don't know what to say about that. I don't know. I don't know what to say. I mean, as sick as that joke is, it definitely affects our folks for sure. It's definitely a way to curb the black vote, is to make them have ID cards. But hey, if these folks were, no, honestly, as sick as your joke is, if these
No,
folks,
just the way you responded, where you're like, man,
if
I don't know,
if
I don't know
I'm
what to say.
scared.
if these folks were to be voting Democrat in droves, hell yeah, they'd be marginalized like that and forced to have ID cards. Yeah, you can sure bet your keister they would be.
We were all joking, and all of a sudden, Mike Mike had to take it to the serious note.
Yeah, I know. There's always one. Always has to go back to social justice.
We were all joking. I thought we were still on the white man burden thing here.
On that
Yeah.
note, I'm excusing myself for the Chilean sea bass.
Okay. Well, if you want to eat with us, feel free.
I
Uh,
think she wants to eat with Misha.
Or well, tell Misha we said what's up. If he wants to eat with us, he can feel free as well.
I'm gonna I'm gonna have the Chilean sea bass. Then I might come back later.
Okay.
Maybe depends. I'll let you know.
Okay.
Flav?
Yes, I'm here. I'm
Yeah,
here.
so we were talking
Here for the
about
kids.
the liberal drive to make sure that Midwestern white people
Martial
have
arts.
IDs before they could vote.
Yeah. Yeah, that's I could definitely see that happening if if they needed to curb their vote. And that's the kind of thing I mean when I say, one side is more willing than the other to to do dirt in order to win. But I saw again today the mention that when Democrats do dirt, it's against other leftists. It's not against Republicans. The quote was, Democrats are willing to do dirt to keep socialists out of office, not to keep Republicans out of office.
I mean, I literally told someone in one of my personal Facebook threads yesterday, my friend Brian, that moderates have drawn lines.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, they're willing.
For sure. That's why there's not this big push to hold Biden's feet to the fire. That's why there's this wait and see approach coming. You know what I mean? Where it's like, wait a minute, no, let's not wait and see. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
At all.
Well,
Like let us pressure him as much as we pressure Trump.
ALC doesn't feel
Especially,
that way, and leftists don't feel that way, which is why, again, there's a line.
you don't think ALC feels like we should be pressuring Biden? I don't
No,
know.
no,
I'm asking you. That's the question.
no, she does. Yeah, she absolutely does. That's what I'm saying. Like the
Okay.
leftists want to pressure him. That's why we draw a line in the sand between leftists and liberals.
I say moderates and progressives, but I get what you're saying.
Yeah, moderates and progressives, liberals and moderates. That's like, it's kind of a lot of overlap there.
I mean, I agree.
Yeah.
I certainly agree. So so I mean, it's evident though, right? There's definitely not a big push. There seems to be a at least the consensus. At least at this point in time, the minorities have. I mean, the progressives have become the minorities because it seems to be the consensus. It's like people are breathing. Biden got elected. We can breathe now. Nah.
Well,
Let's continue the work.
the progressives being the minorities. I mean, well, the progressives definitely don't have mainstream media at their disposal.
Well, I feel like the most popular Democrat right now is a progressive. Not my favorite. One of my all-time favorites. But my favorite Democrat is Katie Porter. But I feel like the most popular, being AOC, is certainly progressive.
You think she's one of the most popular?
I do, yeah.
Okay. Yeah, she's certainly not breathing easy, that's for sure. She's certainly looking to put pressure on these folks to do the right thing.
Mm.
Right? You agree with that, right?
Yes. Yes. So what are some of the things that AOC is saying that indicates that she's not resting on her laurels?
She's just been at odds with. They've just been talking shit about her, and she's been like fighting back. They've been talking. The main, the moderates have been trying to like get her in line, like, oh, you should.
Oh, ever since that tape got leaked.
What tape?
That conversation during the election process that got leaked, where a bunch of senators were talking about, and they mentioned AOC specifically, and defund and some of the things that need to be curved on the progressive Democrat agenda.
Oh,
it got leaked in real time. You know what I mean?
Probably, yeah. Yep. And then she fought back when Obama said what he said and all that.
I definitely got to get to New York City next year and get my book signed.
Word.
Before she becomes unreachable.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
I definitely got to get it signed. She's dynamic and engaging and polarizing.
Mm-hmm.
And she's ruining her chances to become president. But that's cool. I think doing that, making that sacrifice, will make her an even greater voice for progressives.
Yeah, and I don't know. I don't know about this whole ruining her chances of becoming president. I mean, the strategy doesn't work of like trying to play the middle to win.
No. I don't. Well, I mean, it worked for Biden.
Barely. It was still.
I mean, look at what we had to choose from, and look at what we ended up with.
Yeah, but it barely worked, and the reason that Biden won wasn't just because he played the middle, but because of like his name and his legacy and stuff like that. The fact that we got Trump in the first place is because people are not inspired by like these middling, moderate types. They're just not. It doesn't drive people to the polls. People are not inspired. I mean, a lot of people threatened to like, to not vote this time. And it took a lot of fucking work to convince people to vote, even though they weren't excited about Joe Biden. So, I mean, Democrats are like, they're forcing third party politics into the forefront. They're forcing like more choices because people aren't happy with the two choices that they're faced with. They want a viable third option. Speaking of which, I think New York is moving towards what do you call it? well, what do you call it when your person doesn't win, but they still get like a percentage of the vote? Uh, my brain's not working again, so I'm not remembering what it's called, but it's a very democratic thing that they do in Europe. Ranked choice voting is what it's called. I think New York is heading in that direction,
To
which is
to
pretty
what?
exciting. Ranked choice voting, it means even if your person doesn't win, they still get like a percentage of the representation. So like if let's say how would it work? I don't know. Your person, if they didn't win, they would, they came in second. They would still get a certain percentage of representation in government. So it wouldn't be like a just like a winner takes all kind of thing.
So I'm totally confused.
Well,
I don't know
I
what this means. It
guess,
means that they can lose and still take office.
yeah, kind of like parliamentary style. So it would be like, and I don't want to say it the wrong way because I don't know if that it works this way, but let's say Trump had lost by a little bit, so he would still like get 45% representation in office. So like Biden's 55. It may not work that way. It may work a little bit different, but that's the idea. That like just because you lose, you're not out of there completely. You just get a little bit less say. It would be like a certain, it would be like a certain clothing company where, the person who won the most has like, 40% of say so, and then the other two folks have like 30 and 30 or something, whatever would work out to 100. So just the person who won would have the most say so, the most votes, and then second and third according. That way, you know your person still got a lot of votes. A lot of the country still felt a certain type of way, and they still feel like they're represented. It's just considered more democratic. It's like more fair instead of, oh, my person barely won and they get to take the whole pie. So instead of that, like 49% of the country feeling totally unrepresented, they still get theirs. It's called ranked choice voting. You should check it out. But last I heard, New York was getting that.
Hmm. Okay. I guess it makes sense for both sides of the political fence.
Yeah.
Definitely makes sense. I guess. I don't know which one is fair. I don't even think fair applies to me, but I get it.
Yeah.
Meaning, I think it's subjective, but I get it. I
Right.
totally get it. You know, you think New York State is getting it or the city?
Mm, I don't
And
know. I
across the
think
boards, meaning
I
and
think
every
this.
for every branch,
I don't know. I think the state.
for every branch, like mayoral, gubernatorial.
I like I said. I don't know. I just heard. So that's all I know. I mean, if it's the state, it's got to be the whole state. Nothing but the state.
Hey, you have a tree?
A tree? No.
Are you getting one?
You talking? Nah, I ain't getting no tree. I ain't doing all that.
I don't know why.
Yeah, I live in an apartment.
Well, I'm building one.
Really? Branch by branch?
I mean, it's only gonna have 2 branches.
Okay. A little tree.
Yo, somebody just hardcore dissed Jabari on movie addiction.
Oh, really?
I
Jabari
didn't know
Bridgeport?
that. Jabari from Power,
Oh, which one is that?
the teacher.
Oh, the dude?
Yeah, I didn't know that the other teacher used to be his student.
Oh, the other teacher. Oh, yeah.
She used to be a student,
I guess, yeah, I guess they've been saying that. Yeah, I probably just forgot, but yeah, that sounds about right. Yeah, he
even though
gets
she
down.
looks older than him.
Uh, I wasn't gonna say all that
I
she
mean,
looks older than him, but
she certainly strikes me as old. Not that she's. I mean, I think she's fine, but I think she. If I were to guess, I'd say she's like 10 years his senior
oh
in real
wow,
life.
wow.
So this girl
Maybe
just
he's
posted
just
on.
black
She
don't crack
posted a
like that.
picture of. She posted a picture of Jabari, and she put, "Don't be Jabari. This is Jabari. Jabari is stuck on one of his former students that is now sleeping with a student. Jabari steals ideas and thoughts from a student that he
Oh,
thinks is sleeping with a former student that he used to sleep with
oh
that is
shit.
currently sleeping with a student. I don't know why Jabari is on the show. Jabari is a lame. Don't be Jabari."
What? Why?
Yeah,
Why would she say? I don't know why Jabari is on the show. That sounds funny to me.
I don't know why Jabari. Somebody named she shared this from someone who wrote it and with a picture of Jabari named Marcus Williams. He wrote again, "This is Jabari." I think it's great. Jabari is stuck on one of his former students that is now sleeping with a student. Jabari steals ideas and thoughts from a student that he thinks is sleeping with a former student that he used to sleep with that is currently sleeping with the student. I don't know why Jabari is on the show. Jabari is a lame. Don't be a Jabari.
Yeah. Oh. Speaking of which, how far are you caught up?
I did catch up.
You did catch up.
Yeah,
Oh,
I'm gonna echo something that my wife said
mhm.
as she was watching the show because I had to watch all the seasons again to catch her up to current
Oh man,
because I wanted to watch. Yeah, I
that's a lot
wanted to
of work.
watch not all the seasons, all the episodes,
All the
not all the
episodes.
seasons, all the episodes of this season,
Oh, okay.
so that I could watch. I hadn't watched the last 2, and
So
I
you had to
wanted to
get it.
watch
You had to
them.
get it percolating. You had to
Huh?
get it. You had to get it percolating.
Yeah. So she said to me several times, and always during the scene with Mary J. Blige and her family, she just would look up at me and say, "Ish, this is bad acting."
Oh man,
Yo,
let's
like
get it.
several times.
So y'all don't.
I said to her, I said, "Huh," because Mike thinks that Mary J. Blige is putting on the role of the performance of her career, and my wife looked at me and she was like, "She's much better in Umbrella Academy."
Mm,
I didn't. This is unprompted. Like Belinda, hold on,
yeah, that's why y'all two
Belinda.
are married. That's why y'all
Belinda,
got married.
Mike, yo, I'm gonna tell you what Mike just said about us. So, Belinda, yeah. So I was telling him how, and I didn't say nothing to you about it. How you would just look up at me during the scenes on Power when Mary J. Blige and her family, and just be like, "This is bad acting." Mike said, "Oh, that's why you two are married." Like, yo, she literally said, she looked at me unsolicited and was like, "Yeah, she acts better in Umbrella Academy than she does it." Like my wife would just like several times she would be like, "Man, not just about Mary J though. There are several scenes. The white Braden, she doesn't think he can act.
Oh, what the white dude,
Like,
Braden?
yeah, she doesn't think Braden can act.
Has she been around a lot of white people?
Yeah, she knows white people.
Did she go to
She don't think he
did
can.
she go to did she go to
There
college
is
with white
something
people?
that I saw though an observation I want to make about this series that just occurred to me as I was watching it again.
Okay.
Tariq Braden, Tommy Ghost, like the parallel, and
Oh,
it
well,
just
that's
occurred to me.
yeah. I'm sure. I'm sure in the after talks, the writer, the the creator talks about that kind of stuff. I mean, yeah,
Mm.
that's that kind of stuff is by design for sure.
But it's like how hard how close to home are you gonna hit, right? Like you got Tariq, courting a black girl and a Hispanic girl.
Oh, wait, a Hispanic? Why? She's not just light skinned?
No, she's Latinx. You could tell when her by the undertone of her accent that she grew up around Latinx people. But
Oh,
yeah,
wow.
she's Latinx.
Oh, I didn't pick up on that.
Yeah, yeah,
Are you sure? You're sure? You're pretty sure about
yeah,
this?
yeah. She's Latinx. You can
Okay.
Google the name of the actress and see she's Latinx.
Oh, the actual. Well, let's focus on the character though, because I don't. I don't want to
I'm not
confuse.
talking about. I'm not talking about. I'm not talking about uh Mary J. Blige's daughter, who is black with a
No, I
in
know.
the show. I'm
No, you're
talking
talking
about
about
the
the.
Latinx chick.
You're talking about the chick he's in school with.
Yeah, yeah.
Yeah, yeah. No, I'm just saying I don't. I don't want to Google the actress's name because I want to
Oh,
focus on the character.
well, I believe the character is Latinx.
Yeah, yeah. No, I get that. I get that.
Like I don't think she's a mixed black girl. If she's mixed black, she's mixed with Latinx, not black and white. You know what I mean?
I mean, according to your theory, which is sound, it makes sense. Though I would say it's a little too on the nose, but not because you're wrong, but just because they shouldn't do that.
I mean, when I say on the nose, think about how on the nose it is. Like Mary J. Blige's daughter is gangster. Tasha was gangster, right? Ghost Gross grew up with liking Tasha, and Angela wasn't gangster. She was in the good school, and the Mexican the Latin girl is in the good school.
Yeah.
Like it's hardcore paralleling Ghost life.
Well, yeah. I mean, some of it just makes sense. Uh, he's. Hey, what's up, Erica? We just got Zoom bombed. Erica just Zoom bombed
Erica,
us. Um, you're on
she
mute.
didn't even say
Just so you know.
hi.
Yeah, she's on mute.
Oh, hey.
Hey,
It's been a long time, Erica. How are you?
Good. How are you?
I like
Glad
the
you could
yellow and
join
red.
us. I'm always
Ah,
telling
thanks.
Mike to tell the two of you I said hello, and I don't think he does.
I spread messages of people who show their face. For instance,
Oh, so the answer is no, he doesn't.
Erica and I both have on red, which is cool. We don't know what you have on because you're just too cool to show your face. You're like
No
the
idea.
Escobar. You're like the Escobar of Zoom. At least have like a cool.
So the answer is no.
ghost
You
face.
never tell Erica and Nafisa that I say hi.
You don't be saying hi.
I do all the time. I'm like, yo, next time you
Nah.
talk, you're like, oh, I'm doing the show. I'm like, yo, tell him I said what's up.
No,
Tell him I said hi
He doesn't
all the
say that.
time.
No, he doesn't say that. He doesn't think about shows.
All the time.
No.
I don't know
He
who to
says-
believe.
He says next time I show my
Well,
face,
why would I?
tell them
So Erica, why
I
would
said
I?
hi.
I have no reason to just say that.
So Erica, why would he say
Certainly,
that
I
he's
say
going to
it
start showing his face from now on, months ago, and still not be
He
showing his
did
face?
say that. He did say
you even
that.
remember? See, she even remembers. You can't lie.
I feel like,
You
here's
can't
the
lie
thing.
like that.
I feel like
No,
I
I
come
didn't
on
lie.
here, I
Mhm.
incriminate myself with my words, and
Mhm.
then I'm brave enough to show my face.
Exactly.
You have
Be
privilege,
brave.
though.
Be like Erica. Be like.
I do
Be
have
like
privilege.
You have a privilege.
I have
I don't
lots of privilege.
So
That's
Ish.
true.
I agree with you that so I agree that like him falling for someone like Mary J. Blige's daughter, some of it's just circumstance, right? Like he is forced to make money so he can pay for his mother's, uh, lawyer and blah blah blah. So he's forced to be around that family. He didn't really want to be around that family at first, you know.
Yeah, but I think you're rationalizing it from a perspective of inside the story, right? Like if I'm a
Okay,
writer, I'm thinking, how do I write this story
yeah,
logically to
sure,
parallel? You understand what I'm saying? If I'm the
yeah,
writer, if I'm
but
outside, you know what I
but
mean?
but I mean, at one point, you know, most young men are going to be maybe attracted to someone who is like their mother, especially he had a good relationship with his mother. So being attracted to someone who is gangster to a point, but also like smart and like also smart enough to be more than that, right? I think he
Someone
looks at his
who is
mother.
what Tasha could be if she was a teenager.
Well, I mean, Tasha was certainly an accountant and who certainly could have been doing non-gangster things. She just happened to adapt to the situation. And I think the same thing about the daughter. The daughter is definitely smart and she's in that family, but she's not just some hood chick. Like she's very smart and she can adapt. Um, so I think there's more to it than that. But the whole thing about uh, him also like having a thing for a Latinx chick, I think that's a bit too much. I think they shouldn't have. I didn't catch that because I just thought she was, you know,
Hmm.
light skin or mahogany lady. But I think that's
I
a
I
bit too
think I
much.
think they're trying to like. I don't have a problem with it because as of now the show isn't bad, but they
Yeah.
certainly are. Like they're supposed to be doing like book 3, or one of these books is supposed to be all about Ghost and Tommy when they're young, and it's like this might as well be it.
Wait. First of all, I gotta hand it to 50 that like, I mean, oh man, I usually don't even use this phrase like hardly ever, but god damn, like how many shows are they gonna? This must be like a record for spinoff shows.
Oh,
What are
you
you?
didn't see the preview?
What are you guys talking about? I'm sorry to break up
Power
the
Power.
flow.
Power has Power has shows after shows coming out. Right now, we're on book
They got
two.
the Councilman Tate one.
Really?
You didn't see. So
Oh, you might have told me about that.
the last season of Power, the actual TV show, when Power ended, they showed for 5 minutes. They were like, "Stay tuned, more Power on the way," and they showed you the trailers
Oh,
for
I might have
every
forgot.
TV show.
So, what is there
They
going to be?
showed
5 of them altogether?
there's Power Book 2,
Okay, which we're in.
there's Young Ghost, the whole Young Ghost and Angela and all them growing up.
Okay,
There's Councilman Tate
okay.
and Tommy.
Oh, and just straight up Tommy.
Yeah.
Oh, so there's 4 altogether,
Yep.
not including the original Power. So 5 altogether.
Yes.
Okay. Now, I mean, that's just dope. That's just like, and it seems like they're all going to be good. This is just like, I don't know how 50. I, I mean, he just must have gotten with just like the best, one of the best
Well, it's that
writers.
lady,
Show,
Angela Kemp. Like it's her.
yeah, yeah, the showrunner or whatever, the writer showrunner. He must have just gotten
Yeah.
with one of the best in the game. I don't know how he did it, which is funny because someone claims that they had the idea first or whatever for the show. Um, but you know how that goes. Um, yeah, it's just incredible. I've just never seen something like this. I don't know if you can. I don't know if you know of a show that's had this many spinoffs.
Um,
I don't.
Maud.
Maud.
Blackish. Maud. That was before Golden Girls.
Yeah. Maud
Good
had
show.
Archie Bunker, All in the Family, The Jeffersons, and Good Times.
Wait, Maud was there was something before All in the Family?
Yeah, Maud.
Oh, I didn't know about that. Wasn't
Yeah,
Maud a movie?
Maud is Edith's cousin.
Really? I didn't know about that.
Yeah.
Harold and Maude was a movie. Harold and Maude was that movie about the young, I think he's like high school age, and he falls in love with an
Oh,
older woman.
but that has nothing to do with Maud.
Maud
No,
is
Maud
like
is.
B. Go ahead. You go ahead.
Go on. It's B. Arthur. You were gonna say, right?
Yeah, it was B. Arthur. It was pre Golden Girls. She was still kind of her great character that, you know, that like powerful character that she is in Golden Girls, but it was pre-Golden Girls.
Like years before Golden Girls. Like she's Edith
Yeah.
from Archie Bunker and All in the Family's cousin.
Wait, so Golden Girls is one of the spinoffs?
No, because she's not Maude in Golden Girls.
Oh, okay. So Archie
She's
Bunker,
only Maude in that Archie Bunker family of television shows.
Archie
You remember-
Bunker, the Jeffersons, and what else?
Good Times. Good Times
Wait,
is just loosely
Good
connected.
Times?
Yeah, Good
Wait, what?
Times is just loose because Florida used to be the maid for one of the either the Bunker family or Maude's family.
And it's not
the
just
Jeffersons.
And it's not
the
just
Jeffersons,
the same actor. It's the actual same character.
No, it's Florida Evans.
Wait,
so
but,
the Jeffersons. Go on.
But it's not just the same actor though. It's the same
Florida
character?
Evans. The character's name is Florida Evans.
Oh, that's her name. Oh, my bad. I thought that was the actor's name.
No, yeah, it's Florida Evans. So the Jeffersons live next door to the Bunkers.
Yeah, that I know. I know that.
Or they
I know
moved
the
on up to
Jeffersons
the east
connection.
side.
Yeah. That I know.
And then Archie Bunker. So it was All in the Family, and then it became the Archie Bunker show.
All in the Family, Archie Bunker,
Jeffersons, Maude, which all started with Maude.
Okay, so that's only 4 altogether, then, right?
Yeah. Yep.
Okay.
I was gonna say Blackish, but Blackish only has Blackish, Grownish, Mixedish. Is that it?
Oh, I don't know.
I think there's a new one, right?
There's another one.
Grownish.
I think there's another one.
Wait, did you say Grownish?
Grownish is a couple years old. I think that was the first spinoff.
Wait, Blackish, Grownish,
and then Mixedish, and then I think maybe there's a new one coming.
So you got Joni Loves Chachi, Happy Days, Mork and Mindy.
Oh, really? Mork and Mindy?
Yeah.
Was from Happy Days?
Oh, and Laverne and Shirley.
Okay, so it sounds like, but were these were all okay, and these were all spinoffs from the original, or were they spinoffs of spinoffs?
Well, they all come from that same universe. There was an original show, and they all come from that universe. Like they've all been characters on the other shows. We know Laverne and Shirley dated Fonz. Both of them dated Fonz at the same time.
Okay, but these shows that we're talking about now, do they all go back to an original source, or are some of them just spinoffs of the spinoffs?
Well, Joni Loves Chachi is obviously a spinoff of Happy Days. I don't know which came first, Happy Days or I know Laverne and Shirley is a spinoff of Happy Days. Happy Days came before Laverne and Shirley.
Okay.
Like Fonz was never on Happy Days, on Laverne and Shirley, but Laverne and Shirley first appeared on Happy Days.
Yeah, I guess the question that I'm asking is, do they all have the same original source material, or are some of them just spidering off of some of the other ones? Or do they all go back to the original source?
I would imagine they all, on some level, go back to it. Kind of does both, right? Like, how do you differentiate? Because, like, if you compare it to Power,
because on Power, all the characters all the shows that we're going to see are in the original Power. With these other shows, I'm just wondering if all the shows come from the original shows, or if some of the later shows come from
with Maude, for instance,
show.
George Jefferson, the Jeffersons in the Good Times, they weren't in Maude. Archie Bunker and Edith were.
Okay, so there you go. So that's a little bit different. So that's like an extension of an extension.
The Golden Girls had Golden Palace, but then they had Empty Nest, which is a spinoff of the Golden Girls as well. Mm-hmm. And I think it's all kind of based on the same route.
Yeah,
and with Blackish, it's definitely the same route. Like their base story is the same. They're just like spending a little extra time with each character.
Yeah, I only differentiate because I'm trying to see where the writer's head was at. If they had a plan from the beginning and they just wanted to branch all the way out to like 4 or 5 different shows, or if The second show went good.
I don't think they had a plan from the beginning any more than I think they had a plan from the beginning with Power.
Well, okay, but let me finish though, because because before the end of the season they did, right? Because they showed us the plan, and now they're executing it, right? Not necessarily for the beginning. You're right, but I'm saying at least by the end of the first show, they decided to branch out to 4 more shows, where some of these shows we're talking about, maybe they just had a plan to do 1 more show. That show went good. So they said, let's take one of these characters and do another show. That show went good, right?
I think we're still talking about the same thing, just different execution. I get what you're saying. I totally get what you're saying.
Yeah, it's just it's just more planning from the beginning. Just like at Power, it just seems like from the beginning they knew what they wanted to do. Now they're going to go out and execute. Wow, like 4 more shows. That's like quite amazing. Whereas the other ones are like, hey,
Power takes a bigger risk though, because you're right. The risk Power takes is these shows have to be good. Whereas with the other way, they don't even know that they're going to make these shows.
Exactly.
Right? They already know that these characters are dope. People like them and are taking to them. You understand what I'm saying? So let's do this show. Yeah.
Of course, the difference is, I mean, especially you being a writer and you having a vast universe of deep characters, if you've been brewing on these characters for longer and your mind is going different places with these characters, you might be able to draw from a deeper well and do more.
Well, I totally get what Power is doing. Yeah. Because some of the universes, one universe in particular that I've developed for, I don't know, a few decades now, like I know that, I have characters where it's like, okay, I have so many stories that I could just tell with this character outside of, you know what I mean? The core, this core material that I have. I may or may not ever get to it because you only have so many years in life. You understand what I'm saying? But and I have several characters like that. We're like, man, there's just so many stories. Here's a character that I would love to just immerse myself in this character's story outside of this core material.
Yeah.
And there's several characters like that. And I imagine many writers, especially if they're, they're doing their world building, as we call it, come across those kind of good problems. You know what I mean? When you're world building.
I wonder if you could get to a point where you have people who you can trust, who can study your material and who have a certain
I considered
skill and like a certain something where they can like study your material and you can trust them to help you build, certain worlds that you just don't have time to flesh out. I mean, that would take a lot of trust and a lot of skill. And
I considered it. My problem is I'm encyclopedic when it comes to character creation and development, which is one of my problems. It's a strength, but it's also a weakness because like every character, I need to create their entire history, whether I'm going to tell it to you or not. You understand what I'm saying? Whether you're ever going to read it, I need to know, who this character is, where they came from, what their motivations are. Right. And it can't be surface level. So some years ago, early 2000s, when I was doing a comic book and I had contracted some people, it was a headache, to actually take these characters, take this story, here's an outline. You know what I mean? Here's kind of the Bible, so to speak, of these particular characters. Do what you want. I don't want to hinder your, creative license and your artistic. I don't want to do any of that. But here's the Bible, right? Like, don't stray out of this rule set. Don't break the rules of this world. But, take this character and, do what you will with it. And the results weren't great.
Well, it's got to be difficult to give someone else your baby like that and let them, run with it.
Yeah, the results weren't great. Like there was some real, I was writing about one thing and I remember she came back and she was like, I want to put these gargoyles. And I'm like, huh? What? It's like, yeah, gargoyles, gargoyles don't exist in this world.
Yeah.
Nothing in this Bible talks about gargoyles. What are we doing here?
Who are you contracting to do that?
That's a good question.
Oh, it was someone that I worked with who was she was a great writer. This was I don't even remember her name because this was early 2000s, maybe late 90s, early 2000s, between 99 and 2001. And actually had a great artist who went on to become a prolific comic book artist at the time. But the writer she was great, better than me. She was great. She just, and it was cool. She knew she was great. I just can't remember her name. We worked together at a call center, an internet call center called Client Logic, and she loved the material. So I gave her, like, I wanted her to. So what I was doing is I was writing. I was writing these novels, but I wanted to put out a novella, like in between each novel, focusing on a certain character from the novel, because it was just. So there was a situation where my wife she finished reading something that I wrote, and she was very taken by a character that I killed off by the time the novel ends. But she was like, Ish, this is a very interesting character. Like, people are going to want more, which just gave me the idea. Like, okay, I'll just write a novella and just tell a story. But I just could be bothered with it because I wasn't so impressed, which is why I killed it. I just wasn't as impressed with the character as other people were. As a writer, it just didn't. Like, Eric, I'll give you an example. The main character of my core material, I didn't even like this character for, I don't know, 6 or 7 years. So it was a struggle because I had to, like, write around this character that I did not like, because I don't know if you relate to this. Like, it took 6 or 7 years for this character to actually, like, speak to me and me to understand who this character was and what his voice was. And then once I did, I quite enjoy writing him. You understand what I'm, but for the longest time, like, he was necessary, but I didn't like him. He didn't appeal to me. You understand what I'm saying? The world did, and there were other characters that did, but he didn't. So anyway, this girl, I'd given her another character that I was just talking to you about to write, and she wrote this story that was really great until I got to, like, she, like, wanted to interject as, like, a part of the deal for her to write it. Like, she wanted to have her creative license and, like, write about gargoyles. And I'm like, I didn't.
How did gargoyles fit into the plot? Like,
they don't.
Right. So how did she justify the gargoyles is what I'm wondering. Because I have experienced this with all the time with shows, when you're creating a show and you have a vision for what the show is, and then someone comes in with something and you're like, you don't understand what this is. How did it fit into the plot for her?
So she wanted to carve her niche. So this world that I built is like a dope world, and I'm not tooting my own horn. Like, it's a dope world, and most of the people who are privy to it, who have been exposed to it, tell me as much. Like, they're really excited about it, and she was as well. And she wanted to, like, carve out her corner of this world, which, again, I don't have a problem if, like, if she'd have came at me with something that I didn't create, that I didn't put in this world, that I thought could fit into the world, or at least in my vision for the world, which I don't, like, we're talking, I'm writing a supernatural, I'm building this world that, the supernatural is very real in. But I try to write from a perspective where, so for instance, I'll give you an example. If I were to write a comic book about superheroes, I'm not going to write Superman, because I personally don't believe that there's any world where Superman could actually exist. So the character that I'm going to write, even if it's far-fetched, is going to be something that someone could say, well, that's kind of far-fetched, but the premise is logical, right? Like, maybe I'm just making this up. Maybe the government has been genetically, breeding humans since, like, the 1930s or something, until they got the right one, something like that. It's not going to just be this guy who can lift 100 tons and fly through the air and shoot lasers from his eye, because I would never believe that. At the very least, if I'm going to challenge I'm going to ask you to suspend your disbelief, it's going to be on something that seems logical or sound. So in the supernatural world, the way that I introduce the beings that live in this world is very sound for fiction, meaning it's something that, okay, we understand that these things don't exist, but the premise that he introduces these characters on is sound. If I go way back 9,000 years, I could buy that, you know, these things also took place while mankind was, you know, evolving from whatever. You understand what I'm saying?
I
So
got a
what
quick
I couldn't,
question for you.
yes.
Is this like, can she bounce back from asking this silly question? Or is it just like, motherfucker, you're out. You asked me some stupid shit. You've ruined my vision. Or is this kind of like,
Well, it wasn't a silly question.
no,
Like
we're
it
not
was
going to
really
do
like,
gargoyles, but
this is what
let's
I'm
go
gonna
on.
do. It was kind of like we were at creative differences, and it was at that point where like this is a writer, like
So
she's
she
a
was
real
stuck on
writer.
gargoyles.
Yeah,
You
she
say
was on. She was all in on carving her niche in this universe.
What has she written?
Well, as of now, I don't know because I don't even know her. I can't even tell you her name. But when I met her, the things that she wasn't published, but she was an actual like college educated writer working in the working in the field and trying to become successful. And I'm sure something she has written has gotten published because I know several people. Like I'm friends with several people that are published authors, and at the time when I knew her, she's as good, if not better, than they are now. She was really good.
That's
Like I
interesting
was.
to me that someone would be stuck on gargoyles so much that you wouldn't be able to say, you know, no matter what we do here, we're not doing gargoyles, but show
Yo,
me
I'm
something
so
else.
upset about gargoyles right
Show
now.
me show me something
Yo,
else.
so
And
upset
she
about
couldn't be like,
gargoyles.
all right, you know what? All right, I see we're not going to do the gargoyles thing, but here's what we are going to do. And then you're like, oh no, we're definitely not doing that. And then it kind of soured from there. But you're saying she didn't even get to the second point. She was just like, oh no, it's gargoyles or it's nothing. And so
Okay,
Yeah, that's
I'm
where
curious. I'm curious because just because she is a writer doesn't mean she understands how to write that type of fiction. Like if someone
I
is a ballet dancer, that doesn't mean they can do nice hip hop. You know what I mean?
preach, preach,
yeah.
preach, preach. That's why
Well, it
we
also
had to part ways.
well, speaking of dance, it also sounds like a lack of flexibility, right? Because no matter what, like if I love one thing, you know, I'm like, ish, I gotta put a black Superman in this book. I have to. And then I start going on about, you know, he gets his power from melanin. His name is, you know, Kal-El. He sounds black to me. And it's just like, Flav, no, we're not doing black Superman. I've got to have a wealth of ideas where I can be like, okay, no problem. No problem. I got lots. I got tons more of
Yo,
ideas.
Erica, by
It
the way,
doesn't
he's
stop.
hitting on something here because he quoted me perfectly too. Like, yo, Flame, we're not doing Black Superman.
I'm going to
Yo,
grab my
Flame, that
kombucha.
was great, bro.
Thanks. I'm going to be right back.
That was great. No, Erica. So here's the thing, right? And I have to concede as much, right? Like this girl was everything I needed for this character because after after a couple of my friends had read this character, I realized that I couldn't write his story, so he appealed to women. I didn't know this, and it wasn't my intention writing him. I killed him off at the end, but by the end of the story, I killed him, and I did it indiscriminately and unexpectedly because that's how I wanted him to go out. And those people who had an opportunity to read that character were disappointed. Like they didn't expect it. They were disappointed, and he appealed to women. And I didn't know this, nor do
Were
I know
you
how to
able
write a
to
character.
pinpoint? Were you able to pinpoint what it was about that character that appealed to women?
I couldn't recreate it if I wanted to purposefully. That's the problem. Like it was something that happened naturally. And
Right.
so I couldn't, and it's not my style. You know what I mean? So I couldn't recreate it purposely if I wanted to, and she could. She like
Right.
got the character and like she realized that like this was romanticized. I couldn't do it. You understand what I'm saying? I would be bored. It's not my thing, but for some reason, because so one of the things that is important to me about the core material is that while there are main characters, the world drives the story. and it happened accidentally because, again, we're talking about a world I spent since I was a teenager building this world, taking things out, adding things to it. You know what I mean? So like this world it's a dynamic world. It's a very interesting world. I'm not tooting my own horn, but I'm very confident that this, you know what I mean? Like it's a very, like I've built a great world, and people like the characters in this world, and it's a big playground where a lot of writers can come and play in it. Absolutely, like it's built in such a way where, yeah, y'all can all come play in this world. Y'all can take these characters and y'all can go over here and play in over here in this world, as long as it doesn't affect as long as it doesn't work to the detriment of the world. Well, this particular character, the way I wrote him, I kind of wrote the story. I was world building and writing the story around him. There was a goal that needed to be met, and this character was just a vehicle driving you, the reader, through these, point A, point B, or these toll booths. He's just the reader. He's just the vehicle. But in creating this world around him, the vehicle looked good to the people reading it. I just want you to be immersed in the story and this world that I'm building. And the reason why, and without ruining it, the reason why is because the first book was a throwaway book, meaning, so I had this, the whole book is a plot device, meaning if you read the first book and then you read the second book, you okay, so the best way I could describe it is the first book is written in such